Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take the honor and the privilege to welcome you to this fascinating but also interesting class. Today, we want to look at work breakdown structure. If you recall, last week but one, we did look at some of the tools used in project planning. And we did look at the 4 by 4 matrix, call it the logical framework or the log frame. And we did actually illustrate the log frame at length. We looked at the advantages of using a log frame in any project. So today, we want to look at the work breakdown structure, and I hope that we'll actually follow through. Please note that at the end of this presentation, there's a take-home assignment that you need to take note of and be able to answer. The submission will be through our KLM system. We'll be using our Moodle platform. And then before you submit, like we agreed, this work should be submitted through the TANI team, and you should submit it alongside the similarity report. So what is a work breakdown structure? Work WBS, as many people actually prefer calling it, represents logical decomposition of the work. It represents that logic, that coherence, or that flow of the work that needs to be performed. And of course, this is done by different people, performed by different people in the organization, and you want to be able to divide this, to subdivide this into manageable areas for people. Definitely, when we talk about the WBS, it does outline or it gives an outline of what work is expected to be performed. I've given some of these examples here of how it should flow, the project you're looking at, the category, the subcategory. So we must actually have, you must break your work into manageable areas. Others have defined WBS or work breakdown structure as that hierarchical decomposition of a project into smaller manageable tasks or work packages. In other words, why we call it work breakdown. As the name suggests, you want to break down this work into smaller but also manageable tasks. And it is very fundamental. It is very key, very important in any project of any kind to be able to have the work breakdown structure clearly stated. And of course, we are saying it is very fundamental. It's one of the key tools that we use in project planning. And managers, you have to, use this, because if you want to organize and plan the work that you want to accomplish, then you need to have it broken into smaller and manageable tasks. You have a project, the overall project, you want to look at the phases, then you want to move to the deliverables, and particularly these are activities and tasks, and then the deliverable completion, and probably the completion stage, what you call the milestone. When we talk about deliverables and milestones, we are talking about those tangible things, those that one can easily verify that this work was actually done. You have the reports, you make the presentations, you do the prototypes, if they require product, it must be there, very tangible. Then the milestones, these are significant events or achievements that you want to talk about through your project. And so these are very key, especially when you talk about project management. The issues of acceptance of the deliverables. People must accept, what you've done, the ownership, to the point of completion. The proof that actually of these concepts, that these things were done, the kind of quality that you've done, and so many other things. When we are developing a work breakdown structure, what we call the WBS, one, it is important that the work breakdown structure should be deliverable oriented. Your structure, as you break down this work, as you break down the kind of activities you have, they should be geared towards ensuring that you do have tangible things come out. The second is that the work breakdown structure does actually support or supports the project means of verification. You must have the means of verification. Ensure that actually, the delivery of these projects, deliverables, as defined in the project scope, one should really be able to come and verify. The means of verification, there should be means through which you want to verify that some of these tangible things are done. And of course, these have actually to start from the time or the point when you're planning and how you're controlling. And so when we're developing work breakdown structure, it is very paramount that we involve the people who at the end of the day are going to be participating in this project. You don't want to actually bring people who are not affected by the project, who are not actually going to work on the project. And so we are saying you're breaking down this work based on the people that you want to involve in the project. Then we have also the learning cycles, lessons learned, that can actually support the development of this work breakdown structure. I've come up with this example of a work breakdown structure. Assuming in the organization, in Chambogo University, there is a job vacancy of a job. And this vacancy probably is for a senior lecturer or a professor. First and foremost, you need to break down this activity. It is not actually, you don't jumble it, you don't mix it up. You want to begin by looking at the job itself. And under the job, we have the need within this job. And under the need, you need to look at many issues. The budgets, the options, the approvals. Then on the other side, under still the job, you have the job specifications. What are the requirements for the one to qualify for this job? At that level, you should be able to give the details. For one to have, to come to apply for this job, you must have a doctorate and you must have authored these many articles, you must have published these many articles, you must have written these books, you must have done a lot. And so you look at the job specifications, the job itself, the timing and the person. So you must actually give details. The second actually part is the candidate. How are you going to attract this candidate? How are you going to shortlist? Under attracting the candidate, definitely the content in which you must publish out, the content of the advert must be clear. And then the advert location. Where is the job going to be? Is it going to be in one of the study learning centers of Chambogo University? Is it going to be, so where is it going to be? And that is very important. That's very important. Then you move to the level of shortlisting the candidates. And you're shortlisting the candidates based on the advert content or what you sent out and many other issues. So you begin developing the criteria. Who qualifies to be shortlisted and who should not be qualified? Definitely you need to review the CVs of the people and then you do the shortlist. Then the last stage or the last structure, in our work breakdown structure, will be the selection process. You've done under the selection process, we have the interviews and the post-selection. Under interviews, you want to look at where are we going to sit, what is going to constitute the interviews, which questions are we going to ask this candidate and the tour, and then you make a decision. Once the person has been, you make a decision. And once a decision is made, then you do set the terms. You have to set the terms of, the terms of work, the terms of reference. You must induct this person who has been employed, and then probably you relocate them, you post them, give them, where to stay. So this could actually be one of the many examples of a work breakdown structure. Maybe another thing which I didn't actually include here would be if someone wants to build a house, you must actually lay, and some of these activities under the work breakdown structure, one builds on the other. For example, you want to build a house, you must actually have and you must have a plot of land, you must have the budget, you must have the materials, you level the ground, you dig the foundation, you raise the walls, you do the beam and all that, you do the roofing, you do the shutting, you put the shutters. Then you begin to think about now the electricity, installation, the water installation, the interior, plastering, and many of those. So as you're doing that kind of arrangement, then you're looking at the work breakdown structure. I hope we are on the same page. Why is it important then to think about the work breakdown structure? Number one, for clarity, you need to provide that clear and organized breakdown of the project's scope into smaller but well-managed components. If you don't do that, then you may actually find it difficult to be able to achieve. So this clarity helps individuals that are involved in this project to understand what needs to be done. And so point number one, or advantage number one, is clarity. You want to be able to make things clear. You want to clarify them so that someone does not find it difficult to execute their duty. Number two is about scope. This helps an individual as you define and control the project scope, by identifying all the deliverables and the work packages that need to be completed. This will help you to avoid issues where the scope flips and then eventually you find yourself, without proper evaluation. You cannot give. But if you have the work breakdown structure, then you define, you draw the boundary. You say this is where we're starting, this is where we're ending. It helps you to be able to define. And then it is also important that when you're spending money or resources, you know how to control it. Where do you start and where do you end? Then the other aspect which is very key is communication. When you have work breakdown structure in place, then you are able to visualize, to see, to see what actually you need to communicate to the stakeholders. You are able to communicate properly because you have everything is actually streamlined. It's clear, and someone will not be able to ask why this, why that. And then importantly is that it provides a common language and a structure for discussing project tasks and objectives because they are clearly stipulated. So it is much easier for you to have one common language to discuss the project structure. Then the issues of planning. Without WBS, then planning becomes hard. And so it is the basis of us to plan. And of course, as we do this, we plan, you are able to do proper estimation of the time, you are able to do proper estimation of the cost and the resources that you need. And in this case, you want to be able to allow for more accurate project scheduling and budgeting because each activity is laid down clearly. And so it becomes very easy for you to do the scheduling and the budgeting. You allocate the resources accordingly because you have been able to estimate the time, cost, and resources that are required to accomplish each of those tasks. And then the issue of assignment of responsibility. It becomes much easier when you have a work breakdown structure to be able to assign specific individuals or team members to a certain task. And then when you have, everyone is participating, you fail to get someone to hold accountable for certain things. And then this promotes accountability and ensures that all the aspects of the project are covered. Very important. Then the other issue is tracking progress. You need to be able to track, to be able to track the way you're moving, the way you are, advancing, okay, into smaller pieces. And of course, you need to be able, you can only do that you can only measure progress, you can only track the progress if you can be able to measure the completion of work packages and be able to compare to the project schedules. And so project can be, it's easier to manage it so that you don't deviate, you don't move away from what you originally planned to do. Then the issue of risk management, definitely like I've been saying, when you have the work breakdown structure in place, you'll find it much easier for you to identify the risks that could actually impede, that could affect the project. The dependencies between work packages will be actually identified ahead of time. And of course, if you're able to understand that these dependencies allow for better risk management and investigation strategies, then you go for them. And of course, that can only be identified at the work breakdown structure. And the issue of controlling or quality control, which allows for better quality control because each of the work package, involves some sort of quality criteria, and of course, as a project manager, if you're part of the project team, then ensure that the project is deliverables, meet what you intended actually to produce, the kind of quality that you intend, the quality standards that you needed to present. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to end here for this. Please take time, go and read in details about WBS. Go beyond that, look at different examples to be able to understand what WBS is all about. We have our take-home assignment here with us. This becomes our second take-home assignment, and the question is very clear. What are the key steps and considerations involved in creating a work breakdown structure for a complex project of your choice? I will allow you to draw examples of your project of this for this question to be drawn from any project of your choice. And then the other part of the question is, how does the work breakdown structure contribute to the overall success of the project? Please take your time, go through this question, and be in position to answer it in our groups of 10-10. And then the submissions still should be through our Moodle platform. Definitely you do that after you've run it through the Turnitin, and there must be the similarity index report submitted alongside that. The submission deadline will be 1 week from today. Today is 14th, so when you add 1 week, today is 14th. When you add 7 days, that will be 21st. So 21st will be the deadline for submission. We submit it again through our Moodle platform. Thank you for taking your time to watch through this, to go through this. Please enjoy your reading. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye.